Cheers, everybody. Welcome back to another beer review. And we have a beer which I said on this channel I was going to do months ago. And we're talking months. I must be the only reviewer out there who hasn't done this one. I've got to be. Absolutely got to be. We're off to LIDL. Now, what are we going back to? Was it February? March? Might be round about that time. LIDL released some beers. Well, basically, I think what happened was Lidl approached some craft breweries and got them to brew a beer for them to put in their stores. One of them was Thornbridge, if I remember. There's another one I haven't done actually. I think Four Pure have done one for them. Who else was it? I can't remember now. Who else brewed for Lidl? Anyway, let's forget about that. We have got one which I should have done a long time ago. Like I say, I think there's a gazillion reviews on this already out there. We're off to Magic Rock, a brewery which I've always liked, to be honest. And they brewed one for Lidl called Big on Haze, clocking in at 4.5% ABV. It's coming now. Harbour was another one. Yeah, Harbour was another one. I can't remember. There's one more. I'm sure there was one more. So anyway, so these were priced at I think about £1.70, £1 under £2 anyway. So I think the best one was the Thornbridge, the stout. I remember it being a stout. I remember saying it weren't bad. The Harbour one I didn't like. Anyway, so this is brewed to a budget. Okay, it's brewed to a budget. See, Lidl's approached. So if you owned a brewery, Lidl knocks on your door, because I think that's the way it came out, and wants you to brew a beer for them, and they're going to tell you how much they're going to sell it for. If you were a brewer, you would kind of like cut your cloth accordingly regarding the whole brewing process and what you're going to put in your beer. Because obviously, money is a key issue here. So, I don't think I can really criticise the breweries on this because there's budgets at hand. So, it's not a dig at the breweries. If a big up and coming supermarket knocks on your door and wants you to produce a beer for them, or even if you're a brewery and you approach them, I'll do a beer, put it on the shelves, it gets your name out there. So for me, it's not a bad thing in a way. Okay, so whatever this beer is like, I'm going to tell you now that Magic Rock beers are not all like it. And it's the same with every brewery out there. It's all about how much they're going to sell their beer for. Okay? Because if you have a barrel-aged stout, it's going to cost you a lot more than one of these because of the process. The ingredients, the process, the time it takes to brew something like that. So let's pour it out like you do. Apologies for the glass being a little bit dirty, but I don't really care. If you want to murder me in the comments, go ahead. As you can see, I'm going to have to pause it anyway because it's a little bit lively. So I'll just pause it for a minute. Right, it's settled down. So being a glass, it says Big on Haze. Okay, that's the name of the beer. How hazy is it? Well, it's not that hazy. It's hazy, but I would say it's big on haze. Spacious white head to it. Let's get a whiff. Yeah, you pick up a slight presence of yeast. You pick up a slight presence of tropicalness there. There's not really much going on about it, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna go in. Chinny chin 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 chin. Cheers. Slightly thin. I think what they should have done, made this beer a little bit more bitter. If you made this beer a little bit more bitter, the body of the beer would carry through a lot better. What I'm getting is a hint of bitterness, a hint of tropicalness. It falls away like a pack of cards. There's a thinness to it. It's not too thin, but you can pick it up. The watery thinness in the body. It's not the worst one out of them. I think for me, if I remember, the Harbour one was a real watery fest. It was a beer when I thought myself, why did they bother? Looking at this, I mean, there is little hints of greatness in the beer. Okay, there's little hints to prove that Magic Rock are great, because I'm picking up a nice, refreshing mouthfeel. Not too soft, but just nice, refreshing mouthfeel. You're getting hints of tropicalness. You get hints of greatness. You get hints of what this beer could be with a higher ABV and a little bit more hop. A little bit more, you know what I mean? You get hints of this could be really good beer, you know, but we're working at a budget. So overall, it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's a beer, got wind now. It's a beer that you can put up with. If you haven't got much money, you want a beer, you can put up with it. Easy drinking. And that's the way I'll put it. Because, you know, I'll be honest, I like sticking up for Magic Rock because they do get people who do slag them off. And I don't, you know, there's breweries out there that people really, really have a go about, and I don't think they deserve the criticism they have in recent years. I really don't. Um, they they have been a fundamental brewery, regular brewery on this channel. So for me, you know, I think I'll always review them. They're easy to get hold of, and yeah, you know, they're not perfect, but you know, they're sometimes, you know, when they've been branded as sellouts and stuff, you know, in the past, I still think they're a great brewery. Coming to this beer, it's brewed to budget. It's not the finest hour, far from it, but it's brewed to budget. And you know, you like I say, you know, Lidl will be taking masses of volume of these beers out into their store. So you know, you got to cut your cloth accordingly when you run a brewery. You got to, haven't you? So big on Haze. What do I think? Give it a go. If you, I think all of you have had this by now, but if you haven't had one, a little bit like me, give it a go. It's just easy drinking. Just don't expect too much. See you on my next one. Bib bib.